Every gilded cage is built with walls of comfort. The only question is what you're paying for them.
All right, let's get into it. Today we're digging into a feeling that so many of us have, but we don't really have a name for it. It's this sense that the whole 9-to-5 grind, the modern work system, it's more than just a job. The sources we're looking at today are pretty bold. They frame it as a kind of prison. Yeah, a comfortable one maybe, but a prison all the same. So let's really unpack what that means. This quote, man, it just cuts right to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? All that hustling, climbing the ladder, telling yourself you're building your dream. But what if the dream you're chasing wasn't even yours to begin with? What if the whole point of the game is just to keep you playing? It's a heavy thought, and it forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. You know the feeling? You're putting in the hours, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, but you just can't seem to get ahead. It feels like you're running on a treadmill, just trying to stay in the same place. Well, that feeling, it's not just in your head. It's actually backed up by some pretty cold, hard economic facts.
Take this number, for example, $31,000. In a city like Memphis, one source calls this the comfort gap. It's the difference between what a normal household makes and what they actually need to live comfortably, to cover bills, have a little fun, and pay down debt and save for the future. And it's not just Memphis. This gap is a reality all across the country. It basically makes the whole idea of an affordable city a total myth and points to a system that's just breaking down.
So that brings us to our first section, which explores this really strange paradox. This feeling of being trapped, not by being poor, but by the very chase for safety and comfort. This quote comes from a real person's story. Just think about it for a second. A 42-year-old dentist. He's got the money, the security, a cushy 9-to-4 job. I mean, by every single measure, he made it. And yet, he feels like he completely wasted his life. He took the safe path, and it led him to feeling totally empty. This is the perfect picture of that comfortable prison, where the bars on the cage are made of gold. And see, that dentist feeling, it isn't just some personal midlife crisis. It's tied directly to this huge systemic problem. The whole promise is work hard and you'll get ahead. But the numbers show that for millions of people, just getting basic financial security isn't just hard, it's becoming basically impossible by design. The finish line just keeps getting moved further and further away. You're always playing catch.
And this is where our sources present a pretty radical idea. The argument isn't that the system is broken. No. The argument is that it's working exactly the way it's supposed to. It's designed to create this state of constant hustle, keeping you so busy, so in debt, and so distracted that you never have a second to stop and ask if the rules of the game even make sense. Now, this next section gets into the central metaphor our sources use to explain all this, and it's a challenging one. They draw a straight line from historical systems of control right to the economic world we live in today. Let's take a look at how they make that case.
So the key thing to understand here is that the sources are comparing the function of these systems. They argue that old systems of control just have new names. For instance, they compare chattel slavery, where a person is legally property, to what they call wage slavery, where you're not owned but your labor is rented by the hour. They see the old sharecropping system, which trapped people in debt, echoed in our modern world of student loans and mortgages. And they even likened freedom papers to college degrees, both acting as a kind of required document to get access to a better life.
Okay, so let's be crystal clear about this. The sources are not in any way saying these things are morally or legally the same. The differences are massive. What they are doing is using the term wage slavery to make us question how much real freedom we have. I mean, when your entire survival depends on that next paycheck, how free are you really? The argument is that this total dependence creates this powerful, invisible control through pure economic pressure.
So if these systems are so powerful on the outside, why do so many of us just go along with it? Well, that brings us to the psychology of it all. This section is about the prison walls we build inside our own minds, the little tricks that make sure we keep following the rules.
This concept right here is key. Think about it. If you spent a ton of money and years of your life on a college degree, or you've poured your soul into a career, it's incredibly painful to even consider that the whole system might be the problem. It's just easier for our brains to ignore that scary thought or to make up reasons why our choices were right
than it is to admit we might have been playing a rigged game all along. It's how we protect ourselves, even when we can see the cracks forming.
This quote really nails how compliance works. It's usually not some big, scary force. It's subtle. It's the appearance of legitimacy. A white lab coat, a calm voice from HR, a set of official procedures. These things create this mental cushion. They make just going along with it feel like the smart, responsible thing to do. And they slowly wear away your own sense of power, one tiny choice at a time.
And at the end of the day, this is the brutal conclusion our sources come to. We start to internalize the rules. We bite our tongues to avoid rocking the boat. We end up fearing being different more than we fear being unfree. We literally become our own prison guards, and the system loves it because we're doing the work for them.
All right, now let's add a modern layer to this prison. Technology. This section is all about that invisible, algorithmic ghost that haunts our digital lives and pulls the strings.
So here's how it works, according to our sources. It's a pretty clear process. Step 1, every single thing you do online is tracked. Every click, every scroll, even how long you pause on a picture. Step 2, all that data is used to build this insanely detailed profile of you, one that can predict your weak spots. Step 3, the algorithm then blasts you with content it knows will get a rise out of you, usually angry, divisive stuff. And the result? This powerful, addictive feedback loop that's designed to do more than just get your attention. It's designed to shape how you think, what you feel, and what you do.
You know, there's actually a formal name for this kind of control: biopolitics. It's this idea that power isn't just about controlling land anymore, it's about managing life itself. The health, the habits, the very bodies of an entire population. And according to our sources, the digital surveillance we live with today is one of the most powerful forms of this control ever created.
And this is the endgame. The sources suggest that all this data harvesting is being used to create a digital twin of you, a virtual model that knows your desires and fears even better than you do. And this simulation isn't just a copy, it's a tool. It's used to run experiments to see which ads, which news stories, which little nudges will be most effective at getting you to do what they want. It's manipulation on a massive, optimized scale. So, after all of that, is there a way out? Our final section looks at the idea of escape not as just packing a bag and leaving, but as a real, intentional journey, a kind of modern rite of passage to get your own life back.
To explain this journey, our sources use a classic three-step model. It starts with severance. That's where you consciously step away from the roles and the things the system told you to want. That leads you to the threshold. This is the hard part, a messy, confusing time where you have to unlearn all the old rules and figure out what you actually care about. And finally, there's incorporation. You come back to the world, but this time, you're on your own terms, living by your own code.
And this isn't just some abstract theory, right? People are actually doing this stuff. Minimalism is a way of severing your ties to consumer culture. The FIRE movement is all about using money as a tool to buy back your time and autonomy. Digital nomads are trying to find freedom by not being tied to one place. And decolonizing narratives is just a way of saying you're rejecting someone else's definition of success.
So what's the whole point of this journey? What's the final destination? It's something our sources call self-authorship. It's that huge shift from following a script someone else handed you to actually writing your own story. It's about moving past the prepackaged identities and creating a life that has meaning to you.
One of the researchers from our source material, who goes by the canvas nomad, puts it like this. The whole point of tearing all this stuff down isn't just to learn some new information. It's to use that knowledge as a tool to wake yourself up, to spark the one question that can actually change everything.
And that really brings us to the end, and to one last question. Our sources have tried to lay out the blueprint of this so-called prison, its economic traps, its mental games, its digital ghosts. So the only real question left is the one you have to answer for yourself. Now that you've seen the blueprint, what are you going to build instead? Thanks for digging into this with us.